Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. It's Tuesday night. My name's Phil. Loads and loads and loads of stuff to talk about tonight. So what do you want to get stuck into? Do you want to look back to yesterday's match? Obviously, the draw 0-0 at Newcastle. Do you want to look forward to, again, a massive match at the King Power on Sunday? So much to talk about. We want your views. We want your news. We want your gossip in today's show. So welcome to tonight's match review.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, good evening, welcome. 0-0 at Newcastle. If you ask me, that was really a decent point away at a top team this year. So get your views and get your comments in. If you're watching this live, we can put your comments on screen. Good evening, Locks is watching. What did you reckon last night to Locks to the 0-0? Nick Moore, were you happy enough with that? Good evening to you. Andy says, good result, spot on by Dean Smith. Went very defensive, but got us the point. And that point could make all the difference. And that's what I want to know from you. Do you think that point, certainly I think to get 3 there was a big ask, but to get that point, I'm pretty pleased with that. Locke says we did well and the game plan worked. We're all Bournemouth fans for this weekend. Do you think they can do something at Everton? Jeffrey says, good evening. Hope you're well, Jeffrey. What do you make to that? Now, listen, I want as many of your views and as many as your comments on last night's game and, of course, what's going to happen this weekend. But I'm going to bring in Tom. Let's get Tom's views in. Good evening, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. You?
Yeah, good, Tom. Listen, I'm actually really quite pleased with that point last night away at Newcastle. It tips the balance a little bit, not in our favour on Sunday. Obviously, the balance is in Everton's favour, really. But it gives us that extra point that Bournemouth now could pick up a draw at Everton. So I think that point last night could well be invaluable.
Oh, look, massively. The pressure's now on Everton. If we'd lost that last night, Everton would have thought, well, a point and we're safe. They all need a point. Where now it's like a point maybe not good enough for them to stay up. So they're going to have to go out and win. And look, by the sound of it, they're going to have a lot of players out of the weekend. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think his hamstring's gone. Their right back who came on in the Leicester game is now injured as well. So they haven't got a recognised right back. Look, for me, the pressure's now on Everton. And for us, we just got to go and do the job on Sunday. And if we win, then if all we can do is win our last game, for me, it doesn't matter what happens. We have to win that last game to get the send-off of the season with some kind of a high.
Gary Cooper watching out in New Zealand. Gary didn't used to live in Cornwall. What are you doing in New Zealand, mate? Says, good point and good evening. And it was Gary. I believe, Gary, you're the Lucky Gnomes guy from a few years ago. Chris Moore says, I brought that top for my dad for his birthday. He talked about my shirt. Or talking about Tom's shirt, Chris? Let us know. Ben says here, I'm optimistic. West Ham might rest a few with Europe coming up. Tom, I actually agree with Ben. I think they will rest a hatful. I don't expect to see Declan Rice play. I would think, certainly, if I was a West Ham fan, I wouldn't want to see anybody of value play against Leicester, a fighting Leicester.
But they've got 2 weeks until they play that final, mate.
Yeah, but if it was Leicester, Tom, what would you be saying?
I've still got a feeling after watching the team selection that Moisey put out at the weekend, I think he'll put a strong enough team out to try and keep that momentum going. And I don't think the players who have been playing all this time and doing well will want to be dropped. I think they'll want to keep that momentum going into the final, because if you slip up against Leicester, it might just knock that confidence a little bit. So it'll be an interesting one, but I still think with 2 weeks till they play in the final, Moisey will pick a very strong team out. I think you'll be very surprised that we can not to see Declan Rice and a few of the big hitters starting in the game.
Well, I'm actually gonna totally disagree with you, Tom. I'm afraid, because I just think that they don't need anything at Leicester, and probably winning the Europa Conference League for West Ham, a bit like it would have done for us last year, would put a massive gloss on this year for David Moyes. Getting a point or 3 points at Leicester means it means nothing to them this year. Whereas to win a European trophy that I think it'd be their first actual trophy since the FA Cup in 1980. So I actually, if I was a West Ham fan, I would be saying, put the lads out, put the youngsters out. You know, don't care. It's a write-off. Let's just enjoy the day and see a chance for some of the younger players or fringe players to come to Leicester and maybe prove a point.
Well, be interesting at 3:30 when we see that lineup, Phil. Be interesting to see who's there.
It will be indeed. Keep getting your comments in. Locke says, can't see it ending in a draw on Sunday. I think either 2-0 Bournemouth or 2-0 Everton. I think Dyche is smart enough to not go out all attack. Tom, before we move on to the Everton-Bournemouth game, which is obviously this week just as pivotal as the Leicester game, what can we do as a fan group, all the people who are involved with Leicester Fan TV and everybody who watches it and gets involved, what extra things can we do this week and obviously leading up to the match that can have any impact on the day? Have you got any thoughts, any ideas? Because I'm already struggling with working, Tom. I don't know about you, but it's already consuming me with thinking about Sunday's game.
I'm excited for it. I think a lot of people got nervous. I'm just excited. Look, I'm going into this as what will be at the end of it. You know, if we win and Everton win, we've tried. And then we look back and review the season in a whole and work out why did it go dramatically so wrong. There's this little bit of side of me that actually think that Everton will muck it up at the weekend because the pressure will be completely on them. There's players in that Bournemouth team who are ex-Liverpool players, Dominic Swanky, who might just think, be nice to send those boys down. You know, being an ex-Liverpool player, be nice to send that team down. But look, for me, just up and buzzing, just get to that ground nice and early, get behind the team Saturday. It's going to be another roller coaster of a game. I truly believe it's going to be some highs and lows. I just think from getting in that ground early, even when the boys are coming out to warm up and stuff, if we can have the ground as full as possible to get really back at them this weekend, it could be a massive difference. It really could. And like I said, this West Ham team, even if it is weaker, Moyes ain't going to just let them come and roll over. He's not going to want to go out on a whimper. So West Ham will still give us a game. And I think the fans, as we've seen, you know, a Villa game, others games this season when they've had to turn up and really, really support the lads, they have done it. The Wolves game stands out. That King Power was rocking that game. That's how it's got to be again on the weekend for me, for 90 minutes, really behind them.
I mean, it's only just dawned on me, Tom. It's another bank holiday Monday, isn't it? Is that right? So Sunday, fans can go down, have a couple of beers, enjoy that, get revved up. It's a 4:30 kickoff, so get into the mood and get those voices well and truly, ready for the match. I'm not encouraging people to get sloshed, but just, it could be. Again, chatting, my lads, who Tom, are like early 20s. So they've seen the rise of Leicester from the League One stuff. And they were saying to me, what if we were to win and if Everton were to mess up, what would the atmosphere be like? And I said, it'll be like winning the league. It'll be, it's such a, almost, it's like I said to them, it'll probably be like a playoff final, which they've never experienced Sunday's match, Tom. That's how I've tried to describe it to them, that it'll be such pivotal. There'll be many fans, Tom, who just haven't quite had this all or nothing one-off match experience.
Yeah, but me and you have seen enough of them over years. You've probably seen a few more than I've seen. I've seen the playoff heartache at Swindon, playoff heartache to Barnsley, and I've seen the heartache to Crystal Palace when we're beating them, the other side of the coin in the playoffs. I was at Watford when the Deeney goal went in. I was at Kerman, the Kerman chip down the middle. I was at Cardiff away for that game. I've seen the heartache, but I've also seen the joy of it. I've seen us win the Championship, win League One, win playoff finals against Palace. There's something about winning a one-off game that probably means more than winning a league title in some respects. And that atmosphere on Saturday, if we can win and Everton don't, that the roof will come off the King Power on Saturday, because it'll be truly remarkable compared to where we were 3 or 4 weeks ago with the performance against Fulham, the defeat to Liverpool, that we've managed somehow still by winning one game and drawing one game to still stay in the league at the end of the season. I think that'll be a truly remarkable achievement for Leicester after the season we've had.
Yeah, absolutely. In here, somebody says here about Castagne's shot last night. Andy says here, we could have won if Timothy had buried that chance. you know what? It was almost the perfect smash and grab because the stats, Tom, are like all over the hockey for Leicester. It was a pure defensive thing, but right at the death, probably one of the best chances of the game. If that had gone in, you'd have just felt like the gods were with us, maybe.
Mate, at the end of the day, when you have to look at it, our man of the match was the crossbar and post in the game. He saved us more than anything in the whole game, really. And then, like you say, that final 10 minutes, maybe Dean Smith's hands had to be changed because of having to bring off Johnny Evans. And he thought, oh, do you know what? If I'm going to go for it, I might as well go for it now than using a sub to bring another centre off. Truthfully, he would have gone to 4 at the back at some point in that game. I think he went earlier than he wanted to. But in some ways, it worked because I felt after we went to the 4 at the back, bar probably 5 or 6 minutes that Newcastle had the pressure, that last 15 minutes was all Leicester. We were building up play better. We were moving the ball around better than we'd done all game. And like you say, what we're talking, a foot further across from Pope, and it's probably in the back of the net, mate. I was talking to a Newcastle mate last night who was in Redditch as well, and he texted me going, personally, you're unlucky. Bruno should have been sent off, clear red card in his opinion. That's Newcastle said that was a clear red card. And then it's a different ball game on top of that, that if they're down to 10 men, they're then going to sit back and try and defend more than what we would have done. So, look, if that goal went in, it's in our hands. And I truly feel that probably would have been the worst case scenario because the pressure would have completely been on us. It's one of those now, yeah, it would have been nice to have it in our hands, but I think would we have coped with the pressure going into the West Ham game, knowing that we win, we're safe, or knowing going to that, if we win, it's down to Everton to muck up now. So, be an interesting call on that for me.
Obviously, loads of interesting comments here. Casey says, really don't think I can take a final day shootout. Might turn my phone off and hibernate until all's done and see what at 7 o'clock. Casey, it'll be great fun. Jonathan says, Moyes might want Leicester to stay up. More teams and fans prefer Leicester to Everton. Jamie says here, even if we're confirmed to be relegated last night, this interviewer, talking about me, I guess, would still say Leicester will have a chance of staying up Sunday. Deluded. Jamie, listen. We've got every chance at the moment of staying up. Everton are going to be favourites to stay up, Tom, but I'm not deluded. I said it in the lovely thing. I say this every week. Watch the lives back yesterday lunchtime. I did a video live and I was saying, I actually fancy us to win at Newcastle. I don't know what it is. And I still fancy us to escape out of it. Some days, I've just been waiting all season, Tom, this year for this little bit of Leicester magic that I know is there. And Everton have been begging to go down the last 4 or 5 seasons, and we haven't. And I just feel like you said, maybe because we go in as underdogs on Sunday. There's something just saying, Tom, to me that it might be the better way to be. Slightly less pressure on us and slightly more on Everton.
You hate the saying. I love the saying, little old Leicester. You hate it. I love it now. I love it. Little old Leicester. We are little old Leicester, and we probably will be little old Leicester in my views because this is what Leicester's about. We don't do things the easy way. We never have. Normally, we smash the big teams and struggle against the little teams. You know, this season has been completely mind-blown in my head with that squad of players that we are where we are. But for me, the Saturday's game, or sorry, Sunday's game, it's all about Everton. It is all about Everton. It's not about us. It's nothing about us, this game. We do our job and that's it. And I think the players will know that. We've got to do our job. There's no pressure that we've got to look at the table, see what's happening around the grounds. The players haven't. The players will know they have to win. That's it. That's job done. They haven't got to keep looking at, a point will do us here. I remember a few years ago, I think it was Wolves. They were looking at, they were 1-0 down or 2-0 down and knew that a goal, and they could lose, but a goal would keep them up. We haven't got to deal with that. Our goal difference is mighty fine. That's the difference. The goal difference is the thing that could really save us at the end of putting here. And just knowing that we win, that could be enough. Is more than to us, Leicester fans, than it is to the Everton fans. The Everton fans will be sitting there thinking, a point isn't good enough. That doesn't keep us in the league now. So, look, I'm more optimistic than I was before the Newcastle game. I'm still very wary about getting too over the hypes about staying up because I've had me heartbroken enough times watching Leicester over the years, as you as well, Phil. But look, anything is possible. I just hope the players, and if things haven't gone right this season, then there is something not right in that dressing room. Don't do it for the fans if you don't want to. Don't do it for the club if you don't want to. Do it for Vishay. Do it for the man that actually built the legacy and got you players, the names you're all at now. He deserves it more than anyone. That to tarnish his legacy and go down, be tragic for his name. So if the players, do it for him than anyone else. Do it for them, because we all know the players aren't happy with some of the fans. We've seen that with Maddison's interviews. We've seen it with Rodgers' interviews over this year. So if they're not happy, fine. But come out now and show some fight, because there is fight in there. We've seen it in Vardy. Vardy's hurting. I saw that after the defeat to Liverpool, how much Vardy was near in tears doing that interview. It means a world to him to get his football club in the league. So look, just do it on Saturday, boys. We know we can do it, but do your job first and win. And then it's the roll of the dice what happens in the other game for me.
Yeah, indeed. Locks asked this question, which I thought's quite interesting, Tom. Locke says, here's a question. If Everton are losing at half-time, would you want the players to know? I think, Tom,
they'll find out,
people will be listening, getting score flashes wherever. It'll be one of those where everybody's trying to get a signal. It'll be take a radio in, because the score will get passed around, won't it? This is...
Mate, as soon as that goal goes in at Everton, as soon as the goal goes in...
Anyway.
Good as part, you will know. The players will know. They're not daft, mate. They'll hear it on the tannoy, because they have to announce at half-time what the scores are. They are going to know within seconds of the ball hitting the net at Goodison Park and a goal being given. So they're not going to be daft. They will know what's going on. Everyone will know what's going on Saturday. But I will say one thing. If anybody puts out false news and I find out, you're banned for life from the King Power. I don't think my heart could take it that people are screaming at Everton are 1-0 down and actually winning 1-0. We saw that at Liverpool a few years ago, didn't we? They all thought that Man City were losing, actually winning.
It's Tommy. Many fans might not have experienced this, certainly not for a long time, but there's times where you will end up celebrating a goal that is scored 120 miles away at Everton. We'll be celebrating like Leicester have just scored if Bournemouth score. That's what will happen, won't it?
Oh, yeah. The crowd will erupt.
Players will know what's going on.
I'm trying to think. I think it was, at Southampton when League One, we knew we were up if we won that game, and certain scores went it the other way. Same with the Derby game. Look, we played the Derby before that. So look, it will come through to the players. There's no way of keeping it away from the players. They will know what is going on at any point in that game from the reaction to the crowd. So if there's nothing going on, they'll know the drawing, and they'll know if Everton has scored, because there'll be a groan going around the ground. It'll be easy as that. They will know quite quickly what's happening, and you won't keep it off the players. It'll be too obvious.
Jonathan says here, come on the Foxes and the Cherries. Yeah, supporting 2 out. Mark saying, will the KP be sorting the Wi-Fi out for this game? No, Mark, we'll all be desperately trying to find scores out. George says here, at full time yesterday, managed to get the last seat left at the King Power. Got to support the lads and be the 12th man on Sunday. Tom, I would just say that to anybody, especially season ticket holders who can't get to the game, do send your ticket back or pass it on to a fellow fan so that the King Power is absolutely bursting, because there is a few seats here and there, and that's often season ticket holders who I know, because it's a Sunday. I've seen some people saying they're going on holiday and that because it's half term as well.
But I do it for the Liverpool game, mate. Obviously, I had in Redditch, I had my kids on a Monday night, and I sold my ticket back to the club. It's simple as that. I ain't going to go. Someone else can go watch them instead. I don't see why when you got the opportunity, you're not losing out. You're not losing your ticket again. The whole point of view to two times a season, you could sell your ticket back to the club. One, you get money back for it, so you've not just wasted your money on a month and not going to a game. But two, you're filling that seat and giving the club some extra revenue as well. So, hey, by all means, if you're not going and you're a season ticket holder, sell the ticket back to the club, get yourself some money back, but let this club, like the King Power, be full to the brim at the weekend, because we all know West Ham will turn up with their 3,000 fans like they always do.
Yeah, Andy says here there's another march from Mandela Park. So yes, I'd seen that. We did the last one. That was good. Just the last thing we'll do then, just for a bit of fun to lighten the mood, is anybody who's watching who can't get to the match because it's on a Sunday and they've messed up or whatever. Terry says here, I'm at my son's wedding. How bad is that? So put in the comments if you've got to miss Sunday for whatever reason. Tom, I know I think you know, but I'm going to let people into a little secret. Last night, because they moved the match. Last night, I couldn't watch the match. I wanted to go to it, but I'd already bought tickets 10 months ago to go to the Coventry Arena to watch Harry Styles, to take my daughter. So I was being a good dad, I should say, at Coventry Arena last night, watching Harry Styles. It was excellent, I must say, but I couldn't get a signal. So I was literally there with my phone trying to get score updates. And it took me till nearly an hour and a half after the match to find out the score. And I was celebrating that by myself amongst 28,000 girls in pink cowboy hats and feather boas. But if you've been watching this and you're going to miss Sunday for any reason, do let us know. Tom, have you ever had to miss a match for a wedding or anything like that where you're like, oh my God, and you're trying to get score updates?
I've been to a couple of weddings and both times been bollocked by the groom having the match on the table. Not missing the game. I literally said this to him, I'm coming to the wedding, but I'm not missing the game. He's a Leicester fan as well, but his missus was not impressed at the time that I sat there while they were doing the speeches, me watching the game. We were Swansea away and we lost 2-0. Didn't help the situation either.
Indeed. Nick says here, I'll be finding a pub in Yarmouth. So he's obviously on holiday in Yarmouth, somewhere that's showing the game. Well, it is on TV. The Everton game and Leicester game are the ones they're going to flick between. Ross says he's meant to be going to Thorpe Park, but I said I'm watching the game with my dad and possibly son at the pub. All the fans around my way will cheer us on the way they want Leeds to go down. We're not even Leeds escaping, Tom, would be... I mean, Leicester and Everton would both need to really mess up. So I'm just hoping that Leeds are that obviously bottom team going through.
Obviously, Leeds would have to win and then hope that Leicester and Everton both lose, basically. So, look, think things can happen. We've seen it before, and obviously they're playing a Tottenham team who are very, very low on confidence. So, but like I said, that would have to be a completely downfall from Leicester and Everton for that to happen.
Kevin says, tried to give his season ticket and sons back to the club, but they did not want to know as I'd already used my 3 returns. They said it wasn't club policy, but seems poor to me. I didn't want anything for the tickets, just to enable a couple of fans to use the tickets. Kevin, all I can suggest is if you've got the plastic cards, you just give them to somebody you trust to give them to. I don't know how the phone app thing works, but to be fair, Tom, that's why I've never had the phone app thing, because I've always the little cards. If ever you can't make it or one of the kids can't make it, you can just bring somebody else in.
Exactly.
Terry says here, I've been warned, but never have done as I'm told. My other son is an Everton fan. I've already asked for when you're smiling to be available. This is Terry, who's at the wedding. Tom, listen, we're going to do loads more lives and content this week. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again because it almost feels like I'm getting excited, Tom, a bit like it's a cup final week. I don't know. Are you getting excited or nervous?
I'm just excited, mate. I'm literally building it up as a cup final for me. It's a playoff final, cup final. It's a one-off game. It is a one-off game, and as I say, from my point of view, it's a one-off game where we have to win. That's all that matters to me. I'm not even worried about the Everton score. You'll know what's happening, as I said earlier. But for me, we have to do our job first, and that job has to be winning the football match by hook or by crook, by defending like we did last night if we have to for 90 minutes. It doesn't matter, but we've got to do our business first. At the end of the day, if we don't win, it makes no difference to what Everton do. We have to do our job, and that's a win. And that's where, for me, the excitement comes in, because it is literally like Chelsea all over again in the FA Cup final for me. We win, then we've done our job, and we finish the season on a high in some ways. You know, whatever happens on Saturday, as long as we win, for me, it's still finished on a little bit of high that we've won our final game. Possibly in the Premiership, possibly that's the end of the season in the Premiership, and we're back next year. But do our job first, and that's what I think Dean Smith will be drumming into the lads this week. It's not about the other game. It's not about what's going on around the ground. You've got to win. That's all you've got to do.
Ross is finished. I'll give Ross the last one. He says, #Blue Hair Day. Ross dyed his hair blue. He was all over Sky TV, ITV, BBC. I think Ross was Mr. Leicester City last night. So Ross, I haven't got enough hair to dye it blue, mate, but a good idea. Tom, listen, I'll see you on Sunday. Thanks a lot for all the chat. We'll catch up before the big match.
See you later, mate. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks to Tom there. I'm like Tom, I'm getting excited now. This is like playoff week for me, and that's how we're going to treat it. We're going to be excited. We're going to have lots of fun. The fans have got to get really up for it. Yes, we'll be nervous, but yes, we'll be excited. Yes, we'll be tuned into what's going on at Goodison Park. But I trust me, this is why we love following Leicester City, but all the wrong reasons. But we do love it because it's normally exciting. It'd be boring to be Tottenham Hotspur, wouldn't it? Nothing Whatever happens there. Anyway, thanks for all your views, all your comments. I'll see you later this week. As I say, we'll be doing lots more live stuff. And of course, on match day at Sunday. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Keep the faith, as they say. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. We're going to do it.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.